Hey everyone, I'm back and not that long from the last shoe review. It's another talking race walking shoe review. I wanted to jump on this one before I forgot about it. So strap yourselves in. I'm not wearing my race walking shirt. I've got my Rudy Project, which are my sunglasses, and my sunglasses and my sort of my glasses. Sorry, I love them. They kind of define who I am. So if you recognize me because of my glasses, it's because of Rudy Project. That's a quick plug. No, I don't get paid for any of this. Anyways, back to the shoe review. Okay, so from a race walking perspective, I did one recently on the Saucony Canvera, kind of a 4 millimeter drop. I love the shoe. I like it better than Saucony the 14. So it's the 15 version I did last time. Anyways, what am I getting to now and what am I reviewing? Well, unfortunately, it's probably not a shoe you can really get. So I think I've probably already lost a bunch of people already. But what I'm doing is reviewing this shoe right here. It's a Kiprun shoe. So you're going, what? It's not Nike, it's not Saucony, it's not Brooks, it's not Hoka. Kiprun. It's mainly sold by Decathlon stores. So you'll see it elsewhere as well. Kiprun does sort of have their own brand, but really you'll see a lot of their shoes in Decathlon stores. So depending on where you're watching from, you either have or don't have these stores in your country. Canada, we have a few Decathlon stores spread across the country. The US has some, and they originated in France. So why am I reviewing this shoe? It's Kiprun. We're reading it off here because it's not exactly like a name you'll remember. It's the Kiprun KD 503. Okay, so that's the thing. Their laces are hanging off. It's a Kiprun shoe. So it's kind of like designed for Decathlon stores. It's not a brand you hear of very often. In Europe, you may have seen more of them than, say, over here. Decathlon actually did carry in Canada some race walking shoes, and elsewhere around the world they do carry a few race walking shoes, but in Canada I don't think you can get them online anymore. I think, or at least in the stores. So, but anyways, these are some of the running shoes, and I was in one day just browsing around. They have lots of sporting equipment and different sports, and I grabbed this shoe. So it's the Kiprun KD 500. It's now being replaced, so you can't get this shoe anymore. It was on a clearance sale. So you're going, so why is he reviewing it? Well, I'm reviewing it because I've normally worn fairly low drop shoes for race walking. Kind of like the 4 millimeter Canvera or something almost zero, or not much more than say 4 millimeters. This shoe I just picked up because it was on sale, something from 120 to $90. But it looked like a decent running shoe. So if we look at it here, looks like your kind of basic running shoe. Not a huge rocker, but not bad here. It's got a uniform midsole, just one. There's no sort of combination of foam or other things injected into the midsole. They call it their V foam. It feels something like almost like an EVA, or even I would say closer to some of the foams I've felt in some of the Adidas shoes, kind of the Boost type of thing. That's the kind of foam it feels like. The shoe itself, not overly lightweight. We got 250 grams, so it's about 9 ounces. And here's the thing: 8 millimeter drop. Okay, so it's not 10 or 12. It's not crazy, but I haven't normally worn a shoe that is 8 millimeter drop, or at least I haven't felt it. And this one, you can feel the drop going from heel to toe. So that's that difference from the heel to the toe. So it's got 8 millimeters. It's not super light, but it's not heavy. So it's a fairly light shoe. You can see on the bottom, it's kind of got a carbon rubber outsole. So you get some good wear, though you can see the pattern there. They had cut some of that out for weight. It's got a sort of a well padded heel area, not overly thick. Little tab. It doesn't bother my Achilles or anything. I find this is a little high on my ankle bone, but not bad. Fairly thin attached tongue. Okay, it's elastic. Not overly padded, but thin, but I don't have any problems with it. decent normal laces, and the upper, well vented. It's not overly thick and not overly thin. And kind of the around the toe area, they've actually reinforced the upper here just for wear and everything, especially even there for those folks that have that sort of that first toe that kind of pokes through sometimes. They actually have something there. So overall, sort of well-designed shoe. Feels like a good running shoe because I have been a runner and now race walk. So I brought this up because I found it interesting. I had normally worn those little lower drop shoes and I have no problem with them. I've done a few others. Some I like better than others, firmer, softer. And I haven't really been able to wear the super shoes because I've always found there is sometimes that drop, but as well, the heel at the foam is way too soft for me. I'm not super fast, but I'm not super slow. So I can race walk, like a super easy race walk would be, 6:45. That time really easy would be 7 minutes per kilometer. But I'm much more comfortable, say, around, say, 6 minutes for a relaxed race walk per kilometer. And then, tempo, it could be anywhere from like 5:15 to 5:30, and I can go under 5-minute pace. This is the first shoe I've worn. I threw it on and was quite surprised. Like I say, the heel isn't super soft, like some sort of super shoes or other shoes, and it's pretty much a uniform feel in terms of the foam. It just remains consistent. Yeah, sorry, some of the color has worn off here. It's one of the downsides to it, but otherwise the shoe's not bad. So I was interested to see what it would be like to race walk it because it's a little bit of a thicker heel, and usually it's not what I recommend in a race walking shoe. But I said, hey, it's on sale. I kind of like the looks of it. For some reason, I put it on in the store and went, this doesn't feel bad. I took it out for a race walk and actually quite happy with it. Now let's say I wouldn't race in it per se, but it just gives me a different feel. It's a little more protected at the heel when I race walk. I feel like it's a little more cushion underneath me than a few other shoes I use. My style doesn't change particularly a whole bunch, but I do notice, a bit of a difference. I'm going from the heel to the toe, and it's a bit more of an angle than some of my other shoes. But I really don't mind it. It's quite fun, and I can get up to a decent pace in it. I find perhaps it's a little thick at the forefront here sometimes for me when I'm going along. I do sort of catch side of the toe here. You see the rubbing, but maybe that's perhaps my technique. But overall, I do quite like the shoe, and I would be interested to get comments back from people who do wear a shoe where there is a bit more of a drop, say 8 millimeters or more. What do you think of it? And as well, if you're one of those guys or gals that uses the super shoe for race walking or race walking, whether you're elite or recreational or can deem yourself competitive, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So for me, go check this out online or let me know what you think. It's the Kiprun KD 503, 8 millimeter drop, decently light, fairly flexible. There's no extra sort of pieces put in here to stabilize it, but I mean, you can sort of bend it quite easily that way, but you can't do sort of the wet noodle test. It's got a bit of give, but still relatively stable. Not a huge stack height at the back. I'm not sure what it would be, but it's moderate. So it's not huge chunky, but it's a little more than some of my other shoes. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I am curious to see what other people think of and what shoes they use that vary from, say, the typical race walking shoe, which would be, zero drop or low drop, good rocker, nice flow from heel to toe, and then of course comfortable for your foot. And I've had a lot of the shoes like like the Convera. There's a Hyperion, the Brooks Hyperion. Some people even really like almost like a racing flat. And we've got people that use the reshod shoes, kind of a firm midsole, that type of thing. So I'm always curious, but this one was sort of out of the ordinary for me, something that I quite like right now, but isn't what I would normally recommend. So send me your thoughts, and I would love to hear back from you. So a very short shoe review, but go check out the shoe. Let me know what your thoughts are, and perhaps we can do another podcast or video session soon talking about what makes a good race walking shoe. I've had this conversation with a few of my friends, the geeks and gurus in the race walking community, and they basically say it's whatever works. There's a few general characteristics that work for folks, but then it changes up as well. So you leave it there, and I will remind you as well that everybody's foot is different. Okay, so in terms of width, length, structure, flexibility, rigidity, and so many things. So when you get your foot into a shoe, it has to fit for your foot. Width and length has to make sure it doesn't rub on any part of your foot, your ankle bone, your Achilles, that type of thing. It has to be fit comfortably. You don't want it rubbing on anything anywhere on your foot. And you want it to work for you. So you've got one person who might be, say, 100 pounds, the other person who is 180 or 200 pounds. Different types of cushioning. If you need more stability in the shoe, then you're going to have different shoe than somebody else. So always make sure it works for you. Try it out. You never have to break in a shoe. And go to a store that can help you out as well. Somebody that's knowledgeable about race walking might even help even more so. So hope you've found this quick chat interesting. If not, it puts you to sleep. But here's the shoe, Kiprun. It's interesting. Go check them out, and I'll have another shoe review coming soon.